And we back, episode 2020.
Episode 200, what's this? What we at?
Episode 300, we back.
And we reached our mark for 1K subscribers, but now we want to get to 5K.
5,000.
Before the summer, so let's get there.
Even our Instagram thing is going up really. Everything is moving fast, but just keep on sharing, liking, subscribing.
Thanks to y'all for the 1K too, for the subscribers.
Right.
Thank you guys.
Now.
What's up? What's up?
I know we have a special guest here today.
My boy, we got the big dogs in the
big dogs
in the building today.
You see what I'm saying?
Y'all see the suit?
Y'all see the suit? I smell the money. I smell the money. All right, so Yannick Benjamin. Let's introduce Yannick Benjamin to our audience. You've been on Wall Street Journal, right?
Yes.
You've been on a show called Uncorked.
That's right. Yes.
Right, and those are really I know my sister watched the Uncorked show, so I don't know what episodes she's seen you, but you've been a pioneer within the disabled community. You do many things. You have an organization called Willing For It, which is a nonprofit.
They do everything for the disabled community. We love it. In New York City, we love it. In New York City.
And we're glad to have you on our podcast because it's a lot of things that you do. And what is the main thing that you do? And what is that title? Because I'm not going to try to say it because I've been fucking it up before. Sommelier.
Sommelier.
You said it exactly right. Well, first off, thank you for having me. I've been watching your show and I admire all of you. And like I said, I will have an interesting story on how I first met you, live. When I first met you was at Blink Fitness. And you were, I was like, who the hell is this? This guy is so jacked up and detailed. It's got like a roadmap, He's like, I was like, this guy is unbelievable, And then Frenchie, I think we just talked about that. You did that incredible
stand up, sitting down.
Yeah, stand up, sitting down, a comedy routine at Access, and I was blown away. And then Jesse over at the Access Project, and you've been so kind. You've done a couple of things for us over at Wheeling Forward and our wine events. And I was just telling them how you just killed it and you crushed it. But then I also remember the first time I met you at Access was you're so hyper competitive.
That's what I was about to say. Go ahead.
We were going back and forth about racing each other because you were like, I'm gonna blow you away, and I said no. We never. I don't think we actually raced or whatever. But you would have blown me away anyway.
You're gonna beat him now.
Yeah. See, that's what I was about to say. I first met you through Yannick. It was on some competitive juices shit, and I'm very super competitive. So it was interesting to see somebody to come in and was like, "Yo, you can't beat me in no race." And this is the first time we encountered each other, so we go back and forth. I'm like, "Yo, who is this guy? He really think he can beat me in the race?" But you know what I mean? That just shows you that you know what I mean. Just because you have a disability or just because you have something wrong with you, as far as I don't know, I don't want to call it like wrong with you, but doesn't mean your competitive juices is not flowing through your body, and you still don't want to get somewhere and still be very competitive in whatever you do. And I know that competitiveness has helped you in everything you do in your career. Sure. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to have a little edge, right?
You have
in everything you do, right?
I completely agree with you. I mean, I feel like what keeps me going is having a little bit of that chip on my shoulder. It could be healthy,
just feeling it.
And I think that's what really gets me going. So I do agree with everything you just said right now, and competing against yourself, right? That's what life is all about, right?
So this month is Women's History Month, which is extremely important because just like the Black folks, we only get a month. So
28 days actually.
We're gonna start with our guest. We're gonna start with Yannick. Well, which one do you want to go by? You want to go by Benjamin? Or
No, you can Yannick. No, you're good. You're good.
So
you
we're
can
gonna
call me
start
anything.
with Yannick. Who's a woman in your life that impacted you?
Right. For sure. Well, obviously, my mother, right?
Everybody's sincere.
Yeah, exactly. Of course. And then, of course, I think, in the later years of my life, really my wife, Heidi.
That's really, wife?
Yeah.
Shout out to Heidi.
Shout out to wifey.
Yeah. So really kind of keeping me on that narrow path.
But what did they keep you level-headed? Or?
Well, I think my mom, for sure, a true inspiration. She came here at a very young age from France as an immigrant and really busted her, she busted her butt cleaning houses. She was a housekeeper, which is not an an easy job cleaning houses for families, but she's a person of really great integrity and a very loyal person. And I can't tell you the amount of times that she was there for me, especially after my car accident. And even, my wife, Heidi, certainly I think a lot of the great things that have happened to me within the last few years is because of her. She's behind the scenes. She's certainly not as active on social media, but definitely she reminds me, hey, take it easy, enjoy life. Don't swallow, chew your food. Things that everything's happening so fast.
Embrace the moment.
Embrace the moment. So she's really great about that. So I'm very blessed.
And what about you, Jesse?
Damn, because a lot of people's gonna be mad about.
You gotta just one.
All right, I'll say my sister. My sister Robin, she's a big inspiration for me. Growing up, she's older than me, but we're like best friends. That's like really close. So growing up where I'm from, nobody goes to college and shit like that. So my sister, she was like first one in my immediate family to go to college. She graduated from Temple. Yeah. She got her master's. You know what I mean? She got her doctorate, so she's always leveling up, right? So it made me, and also she traveled at a young age, right? So I think that has helped my growth and everything. It's just traveling opens up your experience and opens up your eyes to a lot of things. So she introduced me to a lot of things, and I wonder how my life was how it was if she wasn't there. You know what I'm saying? Just going to college. I went to college and graduated and everything. So yeah, she's a big inspiration to me, and always pushed me to never settle and keep on going.
Shout out to you, Robin.
Yeah.
Magic. What about you?
For me, wow, I say a bunch of. I grew up in a house full of it was a lot of women in the house. I had my grandmother, and my mom had five girls. So I had a bunch of aunties and stuff. Like we all grew up in the same apartment together. So, but if I had to choose one, I'd say my grandmother, because just the humility that I seen her and she cleaned houses too, like Yannick's mom and stuff. So. Like the humility and integrity that she instilled in me also. I still carry it on to this day, just little life lessons that she taught me and stuff. So I'd say, it had to be my grandmother.
She's the reason you respect women. And
she's the real reason. But
That's beautiful.
Yeah. I feel like the grandmother is always usually like the head of the family, and when she sometimes leaves, it feel like the family usually
just falls apart. It's not the same.
That was definitely for me. My great grandmother was the most impactful woman in my life. She raised me because my mom was a teen. My mom had me when she was young. So my grandmother, my great grandmother's daughter is schizophrenic. So I love my grandmother to death, but she had to be the one to take on that role for most of the part. So she was like my grandma, and it was weird. It was like my great grandmother was my grandma was my mom, and my mom was like my sister up until like a few years ago, and. I will say that she was the strongest woman that I knew. She had 5 children. She raised, I don't even know how many grandchildren to great-grandchildren to great-great now. And she was just a beautiful, strong woman. And she was a Southern woman. She came to New York and she made her way. So to have owned 2 homes and just taught me how to cook, how to sew. She got me into everything. My grandma's a homemaker. So holidays, she was always big on. We always had a Christmas. Everybody's birthday, all the kids, grandkids, great-grandkids, we all had a cake for our birthdays. I've never won a birthday without a cake. So most of the time I used to have 3 or something. But shout out to you, Grandma, and your birthday. Well, she passed away, but her birthday is in, next week, so.
So shout out to all the women out there. We appreciate you.
We love you guys, and because of Women's History Month and because we have a guest today, that's just my French facts. If you're a woman this month, enjoy yourself. Take care of yourself, and as women, we have to take care of each other. Stop being so hateful to one another just because another woman is doing something that you want to be doing. That just might be her time for this. She might be the reason why your door is opening. You know what I mean? So just give her flowers now, and yours will come later. Applaud women. We need to love on each other.
Well said.
Nice.
Well said. Beautiful.
Like that.
Good,
So now back to
Yannick.
the man.
So usually live, give us an introduction about the wine.
Listen, it's his segment today.
I don't know who's the expertise, but we have an expert.
Yeah.
So let's break down some wine.
We brought 3 of us.
We have 3 wines. We have 3 bottles.
Yes.
Yannick, what do we have here?
Okay, so
wait, we have to start with how did you even get into this?
Oh, yeah.
Sure.
Because you're a sommelier.
Yes.
You got to explain what that is.
Yes, no problem. So both of my parents are French.
Okay.
They both immigrated here. My dad came here in 1963, and he started working in restaurants along with his 2 brothers.
Okay.
My uncles, right? Exactly. My cousin was a chef for a very long time. So the whole family was in my blood, and so that's how it all came about. One of my first real jobs or introduction to wine was at the age of 18 at a restaurant called Le Cirque, which means a circus, which no longer is around. But the gentleman who hired me, Ciro Macchioni, he really had this incredible restaurant. And I said, wow, this world of wine and food and service and being around people I just absolutely love. So first and foremost, I love hospitality. And then everything else is secondary. But of course, wine is a real deep passion. I love, it encompasses agriculture, anthropology, geology, history, class, exactly. and meeting some wonderful people. And so that's what, I brought 3 different wines for you to try that all have a unique story to themselves. And of course, we, obviously I'm not going to be too long, but I'll make it very quickly.
Yeah, we need to know about it.
Yeah. So the first one I'm going to pour for you.
So sommelier, to give the definition of that, is what?
So sommelier very simply means it's a wine waiter. Wow. Your job is to create a program for your clientele to make sure that the wine is compatible with the food itself, and that you're providing a service, but most of all an experience to the actual guests, right? So it's not just about me recommending a wine to you, Frenchie, but it's like, hey, Jesse, welcome to the restaurant. How are we going to create this experience with that bottle, A
memorable experience.
Something memorable.
With the wine.
Yes, exactly.
And to be a sommelier or can I say what's the abbreviation? Samo?
Som, you can just say som.
Som.
Yeah, I know, it's a tongue twister.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
Tell them about
back in action.
It's not easy to become a sommelier. Like,
sorry.
It's many tests. How many times do you have to take the test in order?
I've taken it multiple times. So there's 2 major examinations. The first one there's one called the Master of Wine, and then another one called the Master Sommelier. And the Master of Wine's a bit more. It requires a lot more writing, whereas the Master Sommelier requires more practical, it's more set up for someone who wants to work in restaurants. So there's kind of 2 different ways you can go about it.
One is like in the background, which is the master.
Like journalism, writing, more on the business side. And the other one's more like the setting.
You're hands-on.
More hands-on. That's exactly right. I couldn't have said it better.
So you're a master?
No, I'm not, because I've taken the exam a couple of times.
Oh God, he's a failure. We got a fucking loser. Jesus. Why did we get a loser? I wanted a master.
It's true. Hey, you're not kidding. But unfortunately, I've taken the exam a couple of times, and you have to pass 3 parts, and I have passed all 3 parts.
Besides the staircase.
That's very important.
That's very important. Yeah, that was a problem in itself. You know what I mean? But anyway, the last time I took it was in 2015. And so I've taken a break, and of course, it's in the back of my mind to redo it again. But I do participate in competitions and and all that. And I very much have enjoyed it. Yeah, for sure. No. But everything's doable. But
so are you gonna go back to do it, or?
It remains to be seen, Frenchie.
we're gonna challenge you on that one.
Yeah. We're gonna hold you.
We need you to go back.
No, for sure. It's something I think about every day, for sure. But the first one, sorry. Well,
so what is this?
So we're drinking a cava, which is done in the same method as champagne. So champagne is really not a brand in itself, but it's actually a region. So anything that comes from Champagne is allowed to be called itself Champagne. So if you got a wine that was sparkling wine, that was made in California or made in Spain or whatever, it cannot call itself Champagne. That name is actually protected. So it has to.
Champagne is a place?
Champagne is a place. It's
my God!
Yeah.
Did y'all know that?
I didn't.
Don't make it seem
like why would you? Why would you?
Where is this?
So this is just outside of Paris. And that's where, so when you see the word Champagne, and it's actually protected, meaning that, if you had vineyards in New York, let's say upstate, and you want
champagne.
They can't call it champagne. You can make the style like champagne,
but
it's not champagne itself.
Made in.
So, but what we're drinking now, champagne is a luxury product now. It's very expensive now, a lot of it. And so what we're having over here is a category called cava, which is all the way on the Mediterranean. And it's outside of Barcelona, so right in.
So it's made in Cava.
Yeah,
Cava's a
place. Well, Cava's really not a place. Cava is actually, now that we're talking more of a brand, but Cava is a protected brand. So anything that's made and has the name Cava has to be made in Spain.
Okay.
And so this is a place just outside of Barcelona. It's called Alta Alela. It's 2017, so it's got some age to it. Okay. And it's made from 3 different grapes that are completely indigenous to that area. Wow. One of them called Macabeo. So another one called Zarero and Paralada.
So those are, Is champagne made the same way as wine?
So there's like still wine, right? And then there's champagne or sparkling wine. And very briefly, to make it as simple as possible, so you've got wine, you get your grapes, you crush them, and then the yeast, the natural yeast that you have there actually attacks the sugar, eats up the sugar, and then you get the conversion of grape juice to wine, right? And then alcohol. So that's how it all happens, And with sparkling wine, what they'll do is they'll do a normal fermentation. There's a first fermentation, and then there's a secondary fermentation. You add sugar and yeast again, and then you trap that, because what happens is you get a secondary fermentation, and then you also want to trap the bubbles, the CO2.
So that's how you keep the bubbles, and that's what
correct.
I was wondering. So you know how to make this?
Do I know how to? No, I don't. I've never made.
I need to talk to you really quick.
Well, you could certainly do it.
You need a champagne. Well, I can't call it champagne. It's gonna be French. It's gonna be Champagne French. Yeah. I don't know, but I need some.
You should have your own private label.
I really need one. This always has been a dream of mine, because I want a liquor store.
Okay.
And I want like my own bottle of cognac, because I love Hennessy, and I want my own wine because I love wine.
Well, here's the deal that I'll make with you, Frenchie. I'm actually opening up a wine store in the building I was born and raised in Hell's Kitchen. I grew up on the west side of Manhattan. So you'll come and you'll visit us, and you'll hang out, and I can show you the business side of what it takes to open up a wine store.
Deal.
All right.
You got me.
Yeah.
You got me.
There you go.
Told y'all he was serious. Look at the suit.
So what are we supposed to be looking for when we tasting this? So what kind of taste we're supposed to be
Yes. So first off, what I always say is first you just kind of nose it, and almost like kind of go up and down and east and west, so kind of like a sign of the cross, and then you'll swirl it. So when you don't swirl it, you get different aromas. When you swirl it, you're getting it's really enhancing the aroma. So that's what you're really doing. And then what I like to do, I take a little sip and just let it flow around the mouth. I think one thing that I really appreciate about anything that I drink or eat is really feeling the texture, And so here you have creaminess, you have a nuttiness to it, nice delicate bubbles, not overly aggressive. So sparkling wine, I think why it's one of the a really great category. One, you can have it to celebrate. It's low in alcohol, generally speaking. It's great to just drink and kick back at home,
So I can make a mimosa with this.
You can make a mimosa. You can do whatever you want. There's something called a Bellini where you can add some peach nectar.
Bellini.
That's exactly right.
I love a Bellini.
But then it goes well with like spicy dishes too. So, I work in a restaurant that, it's Peruvian food. It's real spicy. And so that really counteracts, and it goes really well with each other. If it was a wine that was high in alcohol and full-bodied, sometimes spicy foods and full-bodied and high alcohol wines really clash with each other. So this is what I love about sparkling wines. And we pour this by the glass. So again,
so how much does this run you? About a glass of
$15. You know
a glass of it?
A glass.
In a bottle?
A bottle, I think I don't know. I think it's probably around $35, $40.
I'm talking about at the restaurant.
Yeah, at the restaurant. I'm talking about at the restaurant. That's
a bottle's only $35?
Yeah.
Our club's got to start doing better.
Yeah.
Start popping wine.
Why the bottles is $3.50?
Yeah.
And we can go get this lovely.
That's how they get
cava.
I mean, one thing that we pride ourselves on, I'll be honest with you, is that, typically if we at the restaurant buy a bottle for $10, we're just going to mark it up like 2.5, 3 times. So it'll be like $30 by the time.
You're not going to go and OD.
No, I don't want that.
I want bottle girls if that's the case.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly.
I mean, I've been to clubs where I bought like Grey Goose for $500, and like when I was a kid, and you're like, why did I just do that? Yeah, it makes no sense whatsoever.
I tell people all the time, like, I'm not that girl. I'm not that friend. I'm not going to the club with you, and we're going to go buy a bottle that costs $50 behind the shelf. But because we're in the club, they want $500. And I drink. So I'm not going to, I'm going to sit there. Keep pouring it up. Now I'm just thinking about that $500.
It's for the, it's the mold. It's the mold you in, though. Because I've done it plenty of times.
I've done it plenty of times.
But as you get older, you don't,
that's a men thing, because I go to the club and then guys already have the section and I can show up and just get the bottle.
We doing it for y'all.
Exactly.
But now my
look at me, I'm popping 10 bottles. I got money.
But now my homegirls want to be look at me, we popping 20 bottles. I don't got time. I'm okay. I will stay home.
So a quick question, Yannick.
Please.
Being that you have so much knowledge on wine and you're also invested in it, do you think about making your own like brand or like?
Yeah, that is.
I mean, of course, you think about it and all that kind of stuff, and I did a private label for Wheeling Forward, And so that was a way to bring awareness and attention, and the proceeds of that went to the charity and all that kind of stuff.
But it wasn't really like an actual wine.
Yeah, it wasn't something that it was something that I worked with.
You have to do that.
Yeah, well, maybe
You're gonna do it.
I would say this as from the outside looking in, you guys really should do it.
Okay.
Do like a From the Throne label, and you guys, and then that would be. I think you guys would crush it.
That's
fine.
I'm serious.
Make it fruity too. I don't want to.
No. Well,
Yeah, 'cause I'm not a-
and that I can assure you, I would help you with that. You can count on me for that.
What you call this?
What you said?
Yo, say that again.
Oh my god.
We gonna run that back.
Now on to the next wine.
Which
What's the
one
next
is-
Okay. Yes. So you guys were talking about private labels.
Okay.
This is something called the liquid geography. And it's a great name. Now, if you look on unfortunately, you can't see on the back label, one of the charities where the proceeds goes to is Wheeling Forward.
Ooh.
Okay.
Okay, we can zoom in on that one.
Yeah. So this is, it also supports 2 other charities too as well. One for cancer research. The other one helps South Bronx Educational Initiative,
Lord, they need that in the South Bronx.
They need that.
I live in the South Bronx too,
We're gonna leave you alone.
Sorry to hear about that.
I know. Well, listen, I hear all the jokes.
Sorry to this man. Sorry to that man.
So this is actually from Spain, and it's from northern Spain. Yeah. It's got all of that stuff. And this is a grape that maybe none of you have heard of. It's not you know what? Let me see if you can down that.
Oh, you can
Just pour it on
pour
the
it
floor.
in,
No,
in
I'm
this
playing.
bottle.
Oh yeah. Let me see. I got it. Yeah.
I got it.
You got it?
Yeah, I'm really good with these things because I know how to get my liquor back. Let me see.
Oh, you're doing pretty good actually.
She's an expert.
She's very good.
Now you saying it now, start spilling.
No.
Wow.
Wow.
I want me to mess up so bad. Look at like she gonna mess up.
I'm actually like, all right.
I told you better hire me as a bartender. I'll come to
little,
Contento.
That's cool.
If you want to get, sorry about that. Yeah.
I'm sitting there shaking yours up.
Yeah. No, you did. You crushed it. I mean, if you want to bartend, you can certainly do that. We'll do a
Come
guest
on,
part.
roll on down.
I'll roll down.
Roll on down.
Off the books. I only exercise.
Oh my God.
So we got to shake this one too.
So,
You can get the-
We ain't on your level yet. I ain't there yet.
You are. This is a grape called Mencia, Mencia. So it's a very traditional grape that you find in northern Spain. But we do carry a lot of wines like this. We carry wines that are made from people from marginalized communities. We have a wine also made from a guy named Roberto de la Mota, who's also a full-time wheelchair user.
Okay.
He's a paraplegic. We have a wine made called Keto Wines. And it's one of the few wines made by someone that's from the Native American community. We have a wine called Azlina from South Africa.
Wow.
And it's the only, I think she is, the first Black woman-owned winery, and she makes Sauvignon Blanc. So we have a section called Wines of
And
Impact.
that's a red wine. The Sauvignon
That one's a white wine. That one's a
That's
white
a
wine.
white?
She does make a red, yeah, but
wow.
but you'll have to come down and try it too. You know what I mean? And so we're trying to really give these individuals a platform and all that kind of stuff, and that are really kind of breaking social barriers because listen. This is the reality of the wine world,
It's not
and it's getting
diverse.
better. It's definitely not
Just
diverse. They mostly look like me.
Just
Everyone,
to let
you
y'all
know what I mean?
know, French white is not like white. He's like black because he's from France. He speak a little French.
bonjour.
Yeah, he white chocolate.
White
y'all.
chocolate. Yo, crazy.
Heidi, I'm sorry.
Fred, you. Oh man.
So we
You
gotta,
was
we
meaning.
gotta,
You was meaning to say that all day. I was no, you.
we gotta shake this.
All right.
Yeah.
So what
So-
it tastes like?
So just smell it. You know what I
Smell
mean?
it?
And then I think it's just.
When you smell it, it's weird. It smells like alcohol. If you like,
Well, yeah, you'll definitely smell a little alcohol for sure.
This has a sweeter
but very,
smell to me.
yeah,
Yeah, this
it does
one
have
is
a
sweeter.
sweeter, like more of this kind of candy note. It's got a bit of, I feel like almost a bit of this cotton candy kind of thing to it. And I think it's up.
I can see the content.
It's what you smell, what you taste, and how you feel about it. You know,
Yeah,
that's the
sweet
most
taste,
important
too.
thing.
my favorite wine is Merlot, Sweet Bitch.
Oh, I've heard of that. Yes.
Sweet Bitch Merlot. You have to try it because they're because there's different Merlots.
Yeah, of course, there's a
but their
million
Merlot is on the sweeter side because I don't like bitter Merlot.
Oh, you like sweeter
I
side?
like
Okay.
sweet Merlot.
All right.
'cause It's like
Well, we'll when you come over, all of you, of course, you'll come as our guests down to Contento, and we'll get you to try all different types of wines for sure. You know.
Nice plug, Contento. Where can we find
Yeah.
that? And
Where's
we
Contento
just
at?
open it up.
And
Where
what
it's
is
at.
Contento?
What is
Contento?
What is a
Contento? Let's get to
Contento?
that. Let's get to that.
And
yeah.
where can we find
Yes.
this place? What is it?
So what is it? The name Contento means happy, both in Italian and Spanish.
Okay.
We are in East Harlem. We're right on 111th between Park and Madison, 88 East 111th Street. I think.
No, you're not saying the important parts. Let me advertise.
Okay.
Contento is a fully accessible restaurant started by wheelchair users himself.
Okay.
And who's your partner?
And George Gallego.
Yes, and we love George over here too.
Founder of the Access Project. Yeah, absolutely.
Yes. And you guys are doing an amazing job.
You guys are crushing
it
it.
because you guys are putting us like that's what I said when earlier, like I said with the women, when somebody opens that door for you, you know what I mean? It just makes it easier for us to roll through.
Yeah.
You done opened the elevator.
Yeah.
You get what I'm saying? Especially in NYC where so many things are becoming accessible now that should have been accessible way before.
Sure. No,
so that the fact that you guys are doing it.
Well, thank you.
And the food, I actually heard really good reviews about it and everything. So you guys really have to check it out.
What kind of food is it?
So the chef is Peruvian. His name is Oscar Lorenzi, and he's absolutely crushing it.
Y'all make white beans?
White beans? We do have beans. I don't know if we have white beans, but we can make white beans pretty good.
You need black beans. Come on. What's up, bro?
No,
diversity. Come on.
Because in Peru, I know they have white beans.
Frenchie, we need black beans in Contento. Come on.
I seen a story on you guys on New York One. It was really dope.
Yeah, no.
And you're rated what?
We've been getting high ratings. We got the New York Times, selected us as top 10 new restaurants for the year. Esquire magazine, we were in the top 40 best new restaurants in America.
Okay.
And we've gotten some really great reviews. I think the most important thing the most fulfilling part that I felt and George has felt and the rest of the team is when we have other individuals that have a disability, whether it's blind, low vision, intellectual, hard of hearing, you name it, right? Physical. Obviously the layout is, barrier free, but I think the most important thing is culturally, the staff there is there to has been trained
to cater to people with disabilities, so you can't be looked at funny. They're gonna understand you. If you're deaf, you have somebody to come out to help them to speak it. That's beautiful.
Proper etiquette. I mean, I one of the greatest things that happened. There was a young lady that came to the restaurant, and she doesn't have the use of her arms, And generally speaking, when she's going out to a restaurant, she has someone there to help her eat, I guess. And she actually, how she would eat normally on her own is she puts her face down on the plate, you know what I mean? And she said that it was the first place in a long time where she felt comfortable that she could to eat a plate down because she doesn't have
does the table raise it? Does the table raise up?
Well, I think it wasn't even about that. It was just about
she felt
comfortable.
doing
it in public.
Exactly.
When you look at the owners and then you see yourself, it's just like when it's just like as a black girl when you see a black Barbie doll, you know what I mean? You feel more comfortable. It's representation. So now I go into this place and I see somebody that's in a wheelchair. I may not have the same exact disability as him, but I feel more comfortable because I understand that the owner understands.
And to the credit to the staff, they have just been like, hey, this is
because they're able-bodied.
Yeah, they're able, but they've been trained,
That's beautiful.
So they get it, and that's important. And I thought, God, that was really touching. I mean, to hear that from someone, you know what I mean? Because that sucks that you go to a restaurant and you can't eat the way you want to because of public perception.
Right, society.
And I just
because somebody would have took their phone out. If you go to a regular restaurant, you know what I'm saying? Somebody will take your phone out and then they're like, look at this girl eat. Because social media makes everything a joke now. So it's like it's nothing to TikTok somebody that you don't even know. And you don't even know why they're eating like this. But because the restaurant is inclusive and stuff like that, she's gonna feel comfortable.
Is that a narrative that you want to push when starting this restaurant? Was that your main focus?
Definitely my main focus, and along with George and everybody else, was to make sure that I don't care about being known as the first. The most important thing is that we're not the last. So nothing would make me more happier.
But you guys are the first.
I think the pushing the narrative. I've been to many restaurants where, God, it's like a dream come true as far as the physical layout, right? But just because you're ADA compliant and you've got ramps here and you've got everything there, but those little things of having the staff being trained and treating you with the dignity and respect, you know what I mean, goes a long way. I mean, I'm sure you might have all experienced that. You go out to eat with friends. Most of your friends are probably able-bodied, and sometimes they're asking your friend, "Oh, what does she or he want to eat?" And you're like, "I'm fucking right here."
Right,
you know what I mean?
I just went to a restaurant this weekend for my aunt's birthday, and I've been there before, so I know the layout. But the way, when it's a large group, they tend to put you all in the same area. So the way the restaurant is set up, it's not their fault, and I understand.
Yeah, of course.
But the way the restaurant is set up, they have a downstairs part and they have an upstairs part. So the downstairs part is the littest spot. Yeah. So of course that's where my aunt want to be, and then the way my aunt and them is the way my friends are, we're gonna get her down and we're gonna get her up, so they don't care. So the restaurant, when I rolled in, I'm like, I'm going downstairs. They're like, huh?
Right.
They're like, the guy's like, you need help? Yeah. I'm like, no, they're going to come up and get me. He's like, you sure? And then they spent the whole time trying to make it accessible and stuff like that. And it made me feel good. But it's like, yo, get an elevator. You know what I mean? Like, it's 2022. Yeah. Literally, we can say that.
And a lot of people in our community wouldn't even go to the lengths to do that. They
would leave. Of course.
Get an elevator. But the fact that I'm not a party pooper, I know everything is not accessible, and that's a shame. But because we're the year that we're in, the time that we're in, and especially living in New York City, we're like the most futuristic out of all of them. The fact that every place doesn't have like an elevator or some form or way to get downstairs, or even those little, remember the elevator next door when we want to get the pizza, it's like, you see how they got that? It's just a small little elevator, you can get that. Like if you have a business or anything like that, think about the disabled community. It's not just wheelchair users, it's blind, it's deaf, it's mentally incompetent, it's different things, you know what I mean? So think about us, don't just think about the able body, because we're going to spend money too.
Yeah,
well, SSI every month.
I think so she's crazy.
we can't run out on the bill. Y'all want us there.
But you know, listen.
I can roll out. I
mean, the numbers don't lie. There's 61 million Americans that have a disability, and there's over $500 billion of spending power within that. And I still don't understand why we're not like we're ignoring those numbers. Right. I mean, like it's crazy.
And you know why? Because a disability doesn't discriminate, and somebody can walk outside and become disabled tomorrow, right?
Absolutely.
Get hit by a car. You see what I'm saying? So, and that's why we need more inclusion.
Born like literally everybody up here on this platform was born like this.
And that's the reason why these places have to be more accessible, because it can happen to you, and until 100%. It happens to you, that's when you want to stress and push the narrative.
So I want to play a game.
Okay.
It's called Drink and Think. So
Drink and Think. Okay.
Nobody up here knows how you got into your situation. Mm-hmm. Sure. So for this last bottle, you break this down to us and tell us what it is, and then we want you to just get deep. Yes. You got to get deep. You got to get serious. You got to tell us like what were those emotions? How old you were? What happened? Who were you within a relationship? Were you out of it?
Sure.
What was your mindset at the time?
I'm happy to tell you. So
the decade, we know you're ancient.
Yeah.
Look good, man. You look good. He was talking about it.
I told you that. I told you white chocolate don't crack.
That's that white chocolate. We got 5 white chocolate people. What, Jason?
Oh wait,
a couple of people.
Let me see.
White chocolate. I'm gonna pour it back in this one.
Okay, cool.
I'm sorry.
So while you're doing that, no, come on.
It's okay.
Please.
We spoke about my brother's situation last week.
Health is wealth, man. Health is wealth. Health is very important.
I'm protecting him. I'm gonna drink for him.
You're not even lying. Health is wealth. You want to pour that in that glass?
Yeah, I got it.
Okay, cool. So the wine that you're pouring right now, that Frenchie's pouring right now, is an Italian red. It's made from a producer called Uduardi, and the grape here is called Galliopo. It's indigenous to the southern part of Italy, so it's very generous. Very giving, nice, beautiful kind of dried fruits. You get a little bit of this fig, a little bit of this prune, very floral, a little spicy. Yeah, exactly.
I like this one. This is my favorite one.
But I brought this because it's kind of geeky. It's off the bean path, but it's a wonderful producer, and I like wines from Italy, and I just
what kind is it though? Like what's
So it's considered a dry red.
Okay.
And the grape here is called the Galliopo, which you really wouldn't find it in a lot of places. It's not very popular, like Cabernet Sauvignon or Merlot.
So it's closer to a Cabernet?
Yeah, it's got a lot of Cabernet kind of quality. No, you're absolutely right. No, it's definitely full-bodied for sure. It's a full-bodied dry red. Well said. Absolutely, yeah.
My thing is not to cut you. I like sweet red because I'm not like big on alcohol.
You would like the sweet.
I like fruity. Yeah, I like fruity drinks. So I like a sweet red.
Well, I'll definitely keep that in mind when you guys come by, and I'll hook it up.
With the spinal cord injury, red wines are better. Red wines are good for you. You could drink this even when you're pregnant. Don't they do that in France?
No, you're right, because it has anthocyanins, so it's really great, and it's also they have antioxidant properties. Yeah. So really,
so
red wines.
Up. Be careful. Don't drink and drive.
That's why I like
don't
drink and drive because I don't catch the UTIs.
Wine is easier.
Cool. Yeah, I don't.
But then it's like you go out to when you're with your friends and you go out to a
they turn up drinking Casamigos and Hennessy and all kind of shit.
And you're like, okay, let me get the sangria.
And the hangovers don't hurt as much because the spirits will really get you, man.
But isn't it the histamines in the wine sometimes? Because it's like if you drink, I know if I drink enough wine and then I wake up the next day like, damn, why did I drink that goddamn wine? See,
how much?
I don't stop.
You gotta drink a few bottles.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah, I do be having.
I mean, if you drink 10 bottles, something's gonna be wrong. You know what I mean, it's not. A cup is not gonna do it, but 10 bottles, frankly.
And you probably gonna hate me for this because you're a sommelier, but I like Sutter Home.
Yeah, why would I hate you for that?
Because I don't know.
No, not at all. Not at all.
Is Sutter Home okay?
No, I think all those wines that you see at wine stores and liquor stores that you might call big brands. I mean, I think they have they serve a purpose, and it's an introduction for a lot of people. And I think they do a great job, and they're affordable, and they're always a consistent product. So I'm certainly. I'm all for it. You know what I mean?
I feel like this would you drink this with a steak?
Oh hell! Oh my God! Absolutely.
It has a steak and
it's a food wine, no doubt about it. It's not like the rosé here or even the cava that you guys have here that you can just chug along and just.
Yeah, you gotta sip this.
But the red wine definitely some food, yeah, and I think red meat 100%. You know.
Yeah, I can see how it goes well with it.
You know, even I mean, I know your background. You've got Jamaican roots and all that kind of stuff, but you know something.
Roots.
Yeah.
Big boy.
Yeah. Things that are what do you call it? Spicy and what's
Jerk chicken.
Jerk chicken.
Oxtail.
Goat. Oh, oxtail. Oxtail. That's exactly what I was saying. Oxtail. Crush
it would
it.
taste good.
Oh my God, with oxtail would be amazing.
I see that. Yeah.
I can see how it blends. I can see it.
Oh, the oxtail would go amazing with that. But yeah, for sure.
So back to you.
Yes.
Okay, young.
So
how did you end up here? Like you didn't just fall over and wake up in a wheelchair. What happened?
Definitely not. My car accident happened in October 2003.
How old were you?
I was 25 years old.
Wow.
So I was already working in restaurants. I was married previously before I had met Heidi. And so
25 married?
Yeah, was that? No, I know it's very young. Yeah. No. You know,
it's going on.
No, it's all good. I don't mind.
Going on 19
but so I got married. I got married in July. My first marriage in July of 2003.
Wow.
My car. 3 months later, my car accident.
Wow. So your wife got a.
Wow. So it was very intense. And listen, I think it's really important to talk about this. It's not just you who gets injured. It's all the ones that are closest.
It affects them as well.
But wait, we have to get into detail with the car accident.
Yeah.
Were you the only one in the car?
Thank God I was the only one.
It was the wine?
No, I wasn't. I don't. It was just really a freak accident in many ways, and it's a long story. But I was on the West Side Highway. It happened on 96th Street in New York City.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, what happened to me was I hit the guardrail, so the car did flip.
On the West Side Highway.
On the West Side Highway in Manhattan on 96th Street.
I know it.
It kind of intersects. It was a rainy, cold, foggy evening and all that kind of stuff. And I was coming back from work and all that. It was late night. And funny enough, of course, like as physics would have it, it was don't get me wrong. There were nights where there were moments where I probably shouldn't have been driving. But it
wasn't one of those nights.
It was just one of those things, Listen, I'm a city boy. I grew up in Manhattan. I grew up on the West Side. So driving wasn't really ever my thing. I don't get I never.
We all city because once you're from the 5 boroughs, we don't need to drive.
Really need a car.
Yeah, it was never my thing, and unfortunately, I guess the impact of me, when the car flipped, what you call burst fracture, and so that's what. Of course, the number one rule that you shouldn't be doing is move, I guess. So the hood kind of goes on smoke, and my instinct is to get myself out of there. And so when the car finally settled down, I'm like, I'm trying
to get yourself out.
And then I can just feel I'm like, what the? I just felt like that magnetic pull. That magnetic pull you feel on the refrigerator. Something's very odd, and I'm like having trouble breathing because I fractured my ribs and all that kind of stuff. And then I'm like, what the fuck is going on? And so I try to open up the door on the driver's seat. That wouldn't open up. That was all smashed up. So finally what I did was I pulled myself out of the car. And I pulled myself out, finally got myself out of the car but with no use of my legs at this point. Obviously, I'm moving. I'm doing all the things that you shouldn't be doing. But everything's in instinct. So I'm like, I cannot be in this car with all this smoke coming in, this carbon monoxide. That's not good. So finally then, I really had that moment of 30 seconds of every little thing that happened in my life happened right there. And I don't know why this happened. I'm not making this up. It was Tom Cruise on Born on the 4th of July. And he played a paraplegic. If you've never watched it, watch it. He does
I gotta watch it.
He does an incredible job.
I didn't watch it.
Yeah, no, but and he's and in the movie's about him being a Vietnam vet coming back from the war as a
That must have
paraplegic.
came out the year I was born.
So all I hear him say, and he's saying, "Simplify, motherfucker, simplify." And so I flip myself around. You know how it is. I'm sure you guys know that feeling of like when you first were injured.
Right.
You got to do that. And so now I'm like it's pouring rain, so I'm digging like little holes so I can pull myself up to get to the side of the road. Boom, boom, boom.
And he was a big guy.
And I was a big boy, yeah, exactly, Jesse. I was a big boy.
How tall were you?
So I'm 6'3", and I was about 225, worked
So
out
you're
like you.
solid.
I'm solid. Yeah,
Shit.
definitely, yeah.
Quarterback.
Yeah.
French chocolate.
So then, all of a sudden, a guy back then, this is when livery cab drivers still existed, and he had an accident. He's like, my friend, stop moving. I'm calling the police.
My friend.
Yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then maybe 30 seconds after, there were 4 young ladies who come out, who I think were in the healthcare industry. I never heard from them again. They come out, running, helping out. She's like, stop moving. You got to stop moving. Stay. They're coming to help you. And she brought out like some kind of blanket or something from her car. And I turn around and she says to me, she's like, are you not cold? And then it's October 27th. It's cold, rainy. And I'm like, no, I'm all good. She's like, honey, you're. So as I was climbing up, my pants and my underwear, rolled down to my ankle. And at that moment, I said, this is fucked. This is fucked. Because like it's one thing to like not, move things.
But to not feel that you got your ass out.
I was, and so anyway, I remember everything. Wow. I remember when the doctor came in to tell me that I was never going to
And they so cold.
Well, I can tell you, at this point, it's 5 a.m, I'm exhausted, I'm tired, I'm frigid, I'm just like, okay, And so my mom at that time, she's to the right of me. My mom is Francoise. And I'm, at this point, I can barely talk, I'm exhausted, I'm just like, okay, this is like.
So your wife was to the left?
My wife was out in the hallway, you know what I mean?
Mama didn't let her in.
Yeah.
Mama said,
no, it wasn't like that. No, she was taking a break, you know how it goes. It's all chaotic.
That's why Heidi here.
Yeah. So
Everything happens for a reason.
Everything happens for a reason. And I want to make this very clear.
Okay.
With my first wife and their family, I'm still very good friends with.
Okay. Nice.
Because they were loyal. Heidi has met Angelo, and we're all civilized. I mean, it's not even like one of.
That's a blessing because it doesn't go bad with
That's white people shit. In black relationships, that ain't happening.
Yeah.
That's some white people.
That's a blessing.
It is.
Angelo be beating on Heidi.
I'm still cool with my ex.
You had to go through a lot of changes first.
I mean, but
just shut the fuck up. It ain't got shit to do.
And it's all about the age too, because you're a whole completely different person than he was in.
It's about Yannick right now. We all got some ghetto.
You got children from your first marriage?
No. Okay. No. We had just got married, and it just kind of, a few years after, it was an amicable. You said, hey,
you put a real strain on it, of course.
So when the doctor told you those words out his mouth.
Well, the one thing that he said to me, he comes in and he was a resident doctor, I think, and he was young.
They didn't even send him.
They didn't even. And he seemed almost excited, and I could just say, I said, "Oh, he's gonna fucking say it," and I'm just like, "Don't say it, don't fucking say it." And he goes, but he said it. He said, "Well, you're a big, strong guy. You're gonna be fine, but you're never gonna run a marathon." Wow. Just like that. Wow. And my mom goes bawling. Wow. She goes out into the hallway, and then it's just like you could just hear all my closest friends. It's like a domino effect. Waiting. And I'm just like, and you could see this guy is like, what the fuck that? I was like, dickhead. Bedside manners.
Like,
you know what I mean?
Facts.
So
I could relate to that story because it was not my main doctor that came in, and he pretty broke the news at like 7 o'clock in the morning.
I was so high.
And he told me I was not supposed to do this, that, and that actually pushed me, and that gave me my chip on my shoulder, like, because he said I was not going to graduate college, I'm going to have to be monitored 24/7, I'm not going to have sex, and that kind of pushed me to the person I am today. So I kind of relate to that. That story.
So with your situation, so you heard those words, and then you just was like, fuck. It was it sounds like to me like you were more concerned about how your loved ones would feel other than yourself, because it's like you heard them in the back, so it's like hard to think about how you feel when you can see your mom is broken from this and then your family.
I think you would know better because I don't have any kids, but you being a mother, I mean,
I can't.
I'm sure you probably gives you anxiety, right? Like
I can't picture that. I have anxiety right now, and I know where he's.
I never even looked at that perspective. I just thought about me being a parent and my son getting paralyzed.
No,
I never thought about it just now, and I'm like, that must be tough.
I've seen how the look of my mom and my dad. My dad is he's tall and
Wow.
big. So
I never
to
thought
see,
about that.
my father will tell you the only people that can make me cry is my children, and his wives, my mother and then my stepmom now. But when he cause he got there before the ambulance. Do you understand what that's like for the ambulance to be so fucking slow that your parent gets there first? So I'm looking at him and I just seen that look. So that would break me. So it broke me. It made me feel like it was my fault. You know what I mean? Like laying on that bed. So did you feel like, damn, I just ruined my mom's life?
Well, I thought about that. I mean, and I had never, I think the hardest part was I had never seen my father cried. And I'm about to get emotional right now too. But I remember, this is after, you do, a couple surgeries. They put the whole titanium. I don't know if you guys had that titanium.
They put titanium in?
Yeah, titanium rods and some screws in there. And I remember him just grabbing me and we says, we're gonna be fine. And then I'm tearing up right now. But and my sister was there. My sister never cries either. I have the same kind of relationship with my sister that Jessie does, because I know you always talk very fondly about her. I watch on social media, and that was hard. That was hard because I guess the way things should work is, your parents raise you, you do the right thing,
you take care of them.
You take care of them.
That was the person that came out. That shit's crazy.
And it's hard, and it's hard to
to see a strong man that raised you your whole life come from France, work his ass off to make a life for you, and then he's like, "We're gonna be okay." And then in that moment, you felt like, "No, Daddy, I'm supposed, I'm supposed to make it okay."
When I first got into that was the first thing.
That's the
I was in the hospital and I said, I'm supposed to bury my parents. You're not supposed to bury me.
Well,
that was like the first thing that came. I was so worried about I'm like, y'all not supposed to take care of me. I said, I'm supposed to.
I know.
You know what I mean? And
it's hard.
It's difficult at first, but now you overcame all this. Like, you know what I'm saying? So I know it lifted a whole weight off your parents' shoulders, because it's like, look at Yannick. You beat the odds.
But in that moment, just feeling those feelings and actually just saying like, hey, who am I now? Like, what did you see yourself as in the time you were in the hospital? Who did you see yourself as?
I actually, truthfully, I saw myself continuing to work in restaurants. No doubt about it, because I love it so much, and I couldn't imagine doing anything else. But I knew that it was going to be challenging. I mean, interestingly enough, you guys probably don't know this, but my grandfather was blind. Just 2 years before my car accident.
He became blind?
Well, no. That was he became blind. He was, he died before I even really met him, to be honest with you. But I have a cousin in France. 2 years before my car accident, my mom comes into my room and she says, "I just want you to know your cousin Guy in France. He was working on the farm and he fell backwards and he broke his back and he's now paralyzed." Of course, me being the optimist that I am, I said to him, well, does he have his upper body? And she said, yeah, he'll be fine. And I'm like, great. So, but I didn't realize all the other, like the social barriers, the unconscious bias that people may have when you have a disability, dealing with exactly what we were talking about, urinary tract infections, pressure sores. I mean, just like there's so much that comes with it, and nothing can really prepare you for it. But I'm so blessed, and I don't take it for granted. I know that.
Amen.
Like, I have the best family, I have the best friends, and I'm not here today without them, to be honest with you.
So, for somebody that's 25 right now, because every day there's a new accident that creates somebody to be in a wheelchair, because like we always say, and especially when we have people in wheelchairs come on the show, we can only speak for people with our disabilities, you know what I mean? And most importantly, we can only speak for ourselves. We just tend to be people that agree because we all still get it done regardless. You didn't let this shit stop you. You kept pushing. Where some people see steps and they're like, fuck this, I'm not doing this. You made an elevator.
Go up the steps.
You get what I'm saying? You made that elevator for yourself. You figured out a way to still make it to the top without using the stairs. You understand what I'm saying? So what advice would you give somebody, or what would you give your younger self? What would you want to hear at this age? What would you give to somebody else?
I think at the age of 25, I was trying to push myself really hard, and it kind of backfired. I ended up getting a pressure sore because I was pushing myself too hard. I went back to work pretty fast.
So, because you were just like trying to snap back into
I was just trying, and I was trying to be the same person that I was prior to my accident. And of course, like the same value system, a lot of things remain the same, but there are a lot of things that are different. You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to worry about pressure sores. Are you fucking kidding me? Like, pressure sores? Like, I didn't even understand what that even meant, or I didn't know what a UTI was. What's like I've heard of it, you know what I mean? I didn't know, like,
I didn't know what any of that shit
was.
No one. They show you it in the hospital.
Yeah, but it doesn't even
resonate because it's like, I'm not gonna catch that shit.
Until you wake up one morning, you're like, oh, you got the chills. You're like, and so until it actually hits you. So what I would have done, take it slow, and learn. And also I would have, instead of being so prideful, I wish that I would have reached out to people that were injured, you know, that were veterans, I guess you can say. I didn't do that. I didn't want to really ask for help, you know what I mean? And I realized that when things started to come in place was because I started to surround myself with other individuals that were in my position, because they gave me the right advice. Oh, this is, you know, this is how I catheterize, and this is what I do, and I got this doctor, maybe you should check out that doctor, or this is what you should do for your diet. That's been really instrumental.
So really, it's finding your people.
It's finding
your people.
Finding people that have the same situation as you, you know, I think.
But it's bigger than that, because I've met people with the same situation, but we just have different mindsets. But with Jesse and like Live, I'm pointing the wrong way. Jesse and Live, I can feel like the advice they come with, you know what I mean? It's always like empowering yourself, biggering yourself. They're the reason I started modeling and everything, and then they're the reason why we're here, you know what I mean? So it's important to find and surround yourself with like-minded people that want to see you grow. So it's not 100%. Just every person that's blind is going to get along. Every deaf person is going to get along, because we don't like a lot of you people in wheelchairs. And I'm going to be honest about it. They're not going to say it, but I'm going to say it. And at the end of the day, it's just because we have the same situation, don't just expect us to relate. Because a lot of you attack us in our DMs, you know what I mean? And it's like, oh, if we don't respond a certain way, because a girl done inboxed me, she done DM'd the page, done blocked me, talking crazy, all because I didn't get to see the message fast enough. And the one thing I do pride myself on is responding to people that's in my situation, because I wish somebody would have responded to me. I wish I had people to hit up. I didn't have nobody to hit up when I first got injured. I was the youngest person in the hospital. I got injured at 15 years old. I didn't even know anybody younger than me. You understand what I'm saying? So I just had older people talking to me, well, you're going to be all right. We got used to it. And I'm just like, fuck these old people. So humble yourself. Just because you got injured, don't make nobody obligated to respond to you, because we've all been there and we all still dealing with this shit. As long as you in a chair, you're going to be dealing with problems from the chair.
That's a reality.
That's just the realities of it. It's always going to be there. If you want to do well, make friends, and make friends that want to be your friend. Just because being a chair don't mean I want to be your friend. We ain't going to be rolling together all the time. Do you understand me? I could go out with them because we all know our energies. We all know each other's energies. Everybody not going to vibe. It's just like walking. It's just everybody that's walking would be friends. You understand what I'm saying? Don't have like obligations on somebody else's lives. I'm not obligated to do anything for you. He's not obligated, and he's not obligated, and he's not obligated either.
I already know I'm not for everybody.
Exactly. If we want to do something, we will. And also, give us time in our DMs. We have 1,000 DMs. Like, it's able-bodied people DMing us, people in wheelchairs DMing us, businesses, establishments, agencies, you know what I mean? So give us time. Stop taking everything offensive. And for the guests and stuff like that, a lot of people are asking to come on. We want you guys to come on. We made this show to give people like us a platform. Just give us time. We're starting the lineup. The best thing you could do is hit us up as soon as possible so we can put you in as fast as possible. That's it. We love you guys. We're thankful for your support. And that's it. So, Yannick, what words do you want to close off with? Because you are just like the most important. He's like the president.
No, I'm not. I get it. No.
It's really, seriously, you're doing your thing. So, what words do you want to leave off with?
I think the one thing that I hear a lot of in our community is that, oh, my friends left me, or my family doesn't love me. And I think there are a lot of cases that do happen like that. It can be a very lonely place. But I think that a lot of times too, it's easy to alienate other people that, you know, so I think a lot of times people they're trying to help you out, and sometimes, you know, we're closed off because we're all scared, and we're full of anxiety because this is a new situation. But like, try to understand and have empathy for those that, you know, and not be angry at them, you know, and really embrace them and say, hey, just give me a few minutes, and reach out to them, because I think you just cannot do this alone. You can't. It's impossible.
No way.
It's so hard.
And we're all dealing with this. So it's like the people you with dealing with it too.
And that's exactly right. And I'd be the world's biggest liar. I'm here with you guys, with you lovely people, because God, my mom, my dad, my wife Heidi, everyone, you know, have been there through thick and thin. And even now, I'm 18 years injured. And there's still things that, like, I'm blessed that I have people there.
You still look young. I think the wheelchair keeps us young. It's like something in it, because you still look young as hell.
Yeah, that's all.
Yannick you guys the same year. Yannick and I, 2003, you said. You said October, yeah.
Oh, you're 2003?
January, yes.
Oh,
I just made 19 years for me.
Oh wow. Okay.
I was 20. You said you was 25. I counted. You said you was 25. I was 24. And you said
so we're like the same.
Oh, y'all the same age.
Oh wow.
And see, this is for our audience, right? Look, both of them take care of themselves. They work out, and this is the prime example with you've been injured at an early age. This is what you want to look.
You can still
right, but the reason why they look like this is because they work out. They take the initiative to do these things
and take care of ourselves.
They take the initiative to do these things. So if you want to get to this age with a disability, make sure you take care of yourself. It's very important.
Lots of
but I remember
a lot of women. A lot of women. We got a married man here. We got a married man here.
I got my ring finger already. I got my ring finger.
Look at y'all, hey babe.
And don't listen to those married man here.
Later.
That's very important. So it shows you can sustain in this year, but you have to take care of yourself. You have to have a great support system, like Yannick said. And take the initiative and be assertive that you want to pretty much continue your dreams. Because he could have just said like, all right, fuck that, I'm not gonna do this shit no more, and I'm gonna sit there and rot and just be disabled.
I've had a lot of friends that gave up. Like a lot of friends, like when this first happened to me, I like through the years, like people became injured, and I seen them like give up, and a few friends even passed away. During it, and it's so sad to see.
The willpower.
Yeah, and I also remember being at Mount Sinai. Remember in Mount Sinai, every Wednesday the older guys, gentlemen, would come in and tell us stories and tell us how it's going to be in the wheelchair and stuff like that, going forward, moving forward. And man, they were so depressed, and they didn't look healthy. They didn't look good either. They were the health wise, they were like how Yannick and I are sitting up here, and we look great and feel great actually, and they just didn't have the look, and they was very depressed. Like talking to them guys made me depressed, and I just knew in my head I didn't want to be like them. I didn't know what I wanted to be. I didn't have anyone to look for, to and say and emulate and say, okay, this guy's living his life.
You were like felt like you were like the first one in your situation.
That I knew, right. That's and great. So these guys were supposed to be like the model. They came and they were these things that they were just telling me, but just everything was so negative. They was like, when you get back, it was sad and it was depressing. I just knew in my head, like I said, I didn't know who or what I wanted to be. I just knew I didn't want to be that. You get what I'm saying? So
sometimes you'll have people come into your life to show you what you don't want to be. That's just a fact. But here on From the Throne podcast, we like to pride ourselves in loving ourselves, loving each other, and making it better for our community. So that's what we hope to be doing with you guys. And we love the outcry of support. We love when you DM us and tell us your situations. Just give us time. We'll respond back. We love you. Please keep subscribing. Please keep sharing and stay with us.
Episode 2.
And this is episode 20. Thank you guys for showing up. And thank Yannick. Thank our guests for coming up.
Thank you for having me.
Appreciate
It's
such
an honor.
And where can they find you, Yannick?
You can go on Instagram at Yannick Benjamin, and you can DM me.
YANNICKBENJAMIN.
It's 2 N's, right?
No, 1 N. She got it right. She crushed it.
Okay.
Period.
And what about the
Contento?
Contento NYC.
Yes.
Let's go to Contento.
Pull up to the restaurant, y'all.
Yeah, you got it. Very good.
And what about your non-organization?
You could just go at Wine on Wheels NYC on Instagram, and and you'll find out all of our events, and hopefully we'll have you guys there. I know I was trying to get both of you one day to do like a music performance or whatever.
Live rap. I'm not the rapper. I ain't the rapper.
I did one song, man. I was scared of that.
I love that song. I love that song. I tried to get you to come on, but I know.
I was scared.
I would have loved for you to come on.
Now I do it. I do it now.
All right. Well, then when the next event, we'll definitely.
This is episode 20. See you guys later. Make sure you guys follow Yannick.
Follow Yannick,
Thank you,
man. Great.